With the budget just around the corner, small businesses are bracing for impact. Can they survive Jamaica's tax burdens? Then we turn to politics. Is the Jamaica Labour Party ready for a third term? And is the opposition sending mixed signals? Stay with us for an in-depth discussion right here on CeenTV. Welcome to the conversation. Sir Reid, how are you?
Welcome, and thanks for having me on your show, The Conversation.
Yes, we see that a number of things are happening now. New calendar year, new business year, our new financial year. We're about to read the budget, or hear the budget being read. What is the overall temperature as far as small businesses are concerned?
Good question. Well, the Honorable Favourable Williams, that's the Minister of Finance and the Public Service, scheduled to make her budget presentation next week.
Yeah.
We hope, as the small business operators, we hope that she will present no new taxes.
So you want a continuation of what has been happening for the past 7 years?
Of no new taxes. We need a break. That is number one. Number two, we hope that she will also mention grants. Grants for some small business operator who, since COVID, have not yet recovered. People have called us, tell us that they want to start business, and they're having challenges by getting funding from the bank. Access to funding from the bank are very difficult to some small business operators.
But there are other institutions, like for example the Development Bank of Jamaica, DBJ, and a few others.
Yes, there's a few others. DBJ, Exim Bank, who is also doing a very good job by helping the small business operator at 4.2%.
So even with that, it's still difficult, that's what you're saying?
Right, it's still difficult because you have to have paperwork. You have to have memorandum of articles association. You have to have a business plan, and so on and so forth. So it's difficult for really some of the business operators. And some of the business operators too. You see, you have a number of informal operators who need to come in the formal businesses. Some of them don't have a TRN, some don't have a bank account. So therefore, SBAJ wanted to bring those informal operators to the formal system so that they can able to have their paperwork and ready to get financing, access to financing from the bank.
How do you intend to get that done though?
Well, we intend in May to have a one-day conference. At that one-day conference, our outlook for the conference is that we have everything under one umbrella. We're going to have the tax administration will be there. We're going to have company's office. If you want to open your business, you open it right away. If you want a TRN, you get it right away. Everything immediately. You will be having the accountant who will help you with your business plan, and so on and so forth. And NIS who present your NIS card. So it's a one-day working conference to help these informal operators who are there. And there are hundreds of informal operators there. We need to focus on them. Also, we're going to focus on the farmers. The farmers, very, very important. We need to focus on farmers to help them to become formal and move away from informal to formal.
So as far as the farmers are concerned, you're saying you want them to move from being informal to formal. What's that process like? You're talking about registration with RADA. What exactly
well,
are
also including registration with RADA. Some of these farmers, though, I'm telling you, they don't have a bank account. They don't have a TRN. They don't know how to file their taxes. So we want to educate them, we want to train them, and bring them into the formal system. So that one-day conference will help us to do so. I'm not finished, let me go, yes. So we asked for grants we hope that the minister will mention grants for small business operator. And we also would like the minister to mediate with the banks. We're having some serious problems with the bank in Jamaica. And I'm hoping that the bank will listen to me. Listen to me. The Bank of Jamaica, on 4 consecutive times, reduced interest rate for 6%. To date, the bank have not healed. We have met with the Jamaica Bankers Association, 0. The minister have called upon the bank, nothing happened. The Minister of Investment, Industry and Commerce is appeal to the bank to lower your interest rate. When you lower your interest rate, people will take more loans, people will have more money, you will get more interest, and so on. I hear an argument that the reason why the bank is not reducing their interest rate because they have high operation cost. I find that to be unfortunate because the bank,
Also,
NCB, make $21 billion. Bank of Nova Scotia make $11 billion. What about that? What about those in profit? Yeah. What about those? Please work with us, bank. Work with us. We need help.
so you're saying that
We're
those,
the engine of growth.
you're
We
saying that the
provide
banks,
billions of
so,
dollars. We provide billions of dollars. Pay taxes. We help the economy. We provide employment, and therefore we need help. We need help.
So you're saying in their efforts to, what they can actually do then is to try and see how they can pass on some of those profits.
Yes. 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 Yes.
But so yes, we hear, so there's some amount of anxiety, you can admit, in terms of waiting to hear what will be read in the budget based on what you have asked for a while ago from the minister. But small business owners have complained about the high tax burdens. How severe would you describe that situation as being, though, in terms of taxes? Are they significantly high, or what is it now?
Well, the minister will be, I'm hoping that she will report that no new taxes this year. That is good.
One.
But then when you go to other taxes to pay, your property tax and other obligation, it's still, some of these are still a little high. And therefore, I'm hoping that the minister could also look into that as well.
Could you speak
property tax and other taxes?
Yeah. Could you speak to any tax policies, though, that are choking small enterprises that you would describe? Besides the property tax, are there any other tax or tax policies that you say would be causing you to struggle?
Company tax is also high. Company tax, yes, and SO1, SO2. We could also look into it. But and you see, I also would like to commend the Minister of Finance and the Tax Administration, because they're now having an amnesty. And business people, is taking advantage of that amnesty right now. So that is very good. I have to commend the Tax Administration and the Minister of Finance and Planning, where the amnesty is concerned. But there are more to be done. There are more to be done. And I am hoping and I am waiting, waiting patiently to see what the minister is going to come with when she present her budget presentation this coming week.
So on one hand, you're commending the government for actually encouraging the tax administration to offer this kind of amnesty.
Yeah.
All right. And on the other hand, you want the government to consider lower interest rates, and no new taxes,
No
two.
new taxes.
All right.
No, you mentioned government to low interest rate. No, government
government to encourage the
and
lowering.
mediate the banks to low interest rate.
You had stated that in the opening address a while ago. But then, are there any, what do you make of the argument, though, that compliance is low because the small businesses just simply can't afford to pay the taxes?
Good question. It is very expensive to start a business. I don't believe that the price of opening a business, a small business operator, should be the same as Grace Kennedy.
No, when you say it costs a lot to open a new business,
right.
what do you mean?
Well, for example, you have to You have to file your paperwork to company's office. It costs.
But
You
that
have
would
to,
be after you have started the
that is
business.
correct.
But when you're
You
starting
have
the
to
business,
file your income tax, GCT, company's tax, and set up your bank account, and so on. There is a cost to that. And so I think that is one of those things that is avoiding compliance with small business operators.
but wouldn't those costs though be transferred to the customers when you have started? Because I am assuming that you're going to see how you can put your things in order so that those costs will be transferred to the customer.
No, it would not be fair though for you transfer the cost of compliance and send off the cost to your customer. I don't think that
Well,
would be.
I'm just looking at.
No, I'm just think that really unreasonable. For example, I am a car dealer, and if the dollar, if the dollar, if you have a devaluation of the Jamaican dollar,
Yes.
then I would have to forward the price to my customer because I have to pay GCT and
Yeah.
all the necessary costs. But to do my paperwork and compliance with tax administration, company's office, I would not, those prices should not be passed on to the customer.
But I figure that those prices are those costs are
Would-
standard, they are static, so
no,
you would
no,
figure out how
no,
to put that in the
no,
overhead.
No, I wouldn't.
So-
Some people do it, but
Yeah.
I don't think it's right to
Oh,
do that.
so-
In fact, let me tell you what some people do. For example, you have a credit card machine. People, people charge.
Yes, man. They
Charge
charge
a
you
customer
$20.
that is illegal, and it's ought not to be happening. And the banks need to also ensure that businesses do not do that.
But how can is it the bank's job to regulate that particular thing though?
Well, yes, the bank do. They tell it, but I'm a merchant, and they tell Mr. Reid, no, you can't do that. That would have to calculate in the cost of goods and service, not direct to the customer.
Oh, so have you been following the Don Anderson polls though?
Yes, I've been following.
So we're seeing where one of the findings that came is that 47% of Jamaicans, somewhere around that figure, believe that the country is heading in the wrong direction. So my question to you is, how does this particular sentiment, how does it affect small businesses?
You mean the Dan Anderson poll?
Yeah, well,
Well, we're watching the poll very carefully, and I think the Dan Anderson poll is very credible. I think over the many years, his poll I've found to be correct, and we are watching it very carefully, and we hope that.
But is there anything that we're seeing? So yes, we're hearing that X number of Jamaicans believe that the country is heading in the wrong direction.
Yes,
so
the poll is saying. And I think when they said
is
that,
that the same sentiment that
it's
small
heading
businesses
in the
own?
wrong direction, I think the money. The money is not filtering down to the
Trickle-down effect.
to the small business operator, and I think that's a problem that the government have and need to address as quickly as possible, because the little man on the street, the little businessman, the hairdresser, the barber, the shoemaker, they are not feeling it, and therefore that is one of the reasons I believe that it's trickling down in the wrong direction. But let me just say something to you: the economy is doing fairly well.
Yes,
Fairly
very stable.
well. Yes, stable. We have the dollar stable somewhat, but
Unemployment is trending down.
Unemployment is trending down. So there are good things that's happening, but the little man out there, the little businessman, as I mentioned, the shoes maker, the hairdresser, the cook shop lady, she is not feeling it, and therefore the government of Jamaica have a responsibility to ensure that the success of the economy trickle down.
All right.
Trickle down to the little small man.
So with that, we take a break now. Just want to remind you that you're watching the conversation. I'm speaking here with Mr. Garnett Reid. He's the president of the Small Business Association of Jamaica. Continue to stay with us. We'll be right back after this break.
Yes, sir.
No, I was asking you to repeat.
I'm not sure.
No idea. Probably have to ask Tanika. Welcome back to the conversation. We're speaking with Mr. Garnett Reid, the President of the Small Business Association of Jamaica. In this segment, we hope to look at budget expectations and business viability. But just before, well, during the break, you started talking about a victims fund. Tell us a little bit about
Yes, all right.
that.
The FinSAP meltdown affected some 44,000 business operators, both micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises, and big business too. Usain Bolt was there. I think he lost $2 billion. Over 30,000 small business operators also was affected. Some of them, again, I must repeat it, have lost their belongings. Family was destroyed, lose everything, and so on and so forth. I am taking this opportunity to call upon the Honorable Favour Williams and the Prime Minister of Jamaica and the Ministry of Justice to set up a victim fund to help some of these victims who's still here, not doing anything, at home doing nothing. Some of them don't have a job, and so on and so forth. It's very hard. Some of them are catching with their families after losing their business because of the FinSAP meltdown. So I'm appealing to Minister to set up a victim fund. I know it's going to be technical. I think the Minister of Justice will also have to get involved, and the Prime Minister as well.
Right.
These people vote too. There are families who vote. They're still around. They're Jamaican. Prime Minister, you will do a great justice if that fund is set up. And I'm therefore calling upon the government to set up a victim fund to help these victims who are affected by the financial meltdown.
So we want to get a little bit more now about your pre-budget wish list. You started by saying that you would love for the Honourable Minister to...
Since I'm on there, though, I just want to go to SSL.
SSL, what about
Let me go to SSL. Of course, you know, SSL is now still in the news. And again, we have micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises who was also affected by SSL. I think it's over 200 people. 200 people affected during the SSL saga. Usain Bolt, just to name a few. There is something I need to mention, is that the regulators, the government of Jamaica need to, because the government of Jamaica have a responsibility. They have a responsibility, and they have to ensure that these regulators, when a government say to you, what's the regulator again? The regulator that regulate all the financial institution.
Yeah.
Government have to ensure that if they tell us that FSL is safe to put my money, they too have a responsibility to the people of Jamaica. When those government agencies say to the customer that it's safe to put your money in, whether Victoria Mutual, NCB, and all the others financial institutions, they have a responsibility. And therefore, we need to now turn a new page where we're going to ensure that the regulators who regulate the banks and the financial institution, when governments say to us that it's safe to put the money, it must be safe.
So you're looking to government to give you some form of assurance that when they say that this place is safe to invest or to bank with or whatnot, it's actually safe.
Right.
All right. So
I don't think that this should ever happen again to any Jamaicans.
Well, it depends on the regulatory framework. But you're most likely in a position to have dialogue with the government so that some of these measures can actually be put in place. But then, separate from that, no. Is there any sort of optimism on the part of your group? You know, we see where we have someone who is relatively new to the portfolio, as in the capacity of minister with responsibility for finance and the public service, as in Favour Williams, you know, are you seeing is there any level of optimism that she'll provide any meaningful support to your organization?
Yes, yes, she have. We have had a meeting with the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service about 3 weeks ago, and we are working together with the ministry to help the micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises. I know the minister know that small business is the engine of growth. They provide thousands of employment. They give the government billions in taxes. So this area is an area that the government really need to look on, and I'm sure she will speak more about it in our budget presentation.
So tell me about your survival strategies though, in terms of the small businesses. You have stated, so I'm just looking at what you have said, the taxes are relatively high, inflation is not where you want it to be. So how are the small businesses in the main, how are they adapting to this kind of environment? You know, even though we have a level of stability.
Again, high interest rate. The dollar is now stable a little bit. The valuation of the Jamaican dollar is still hurting the small business sector. Yeah, it does. It does. The interest rate especially. That hurting the sector, and that need to address ASAP. I don't know. We're hoping that the minister will lobby the bank and mediate, hoping that they will reduce interest rate so that the small business operator, and not only small business, but micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises will survive.
What's the interest rate that you are currently enjoying now?
I think 15 to 18%.
15 to 18%. All right.
The Bank of Jamaica reduced it 4 consecutive times,
yes,
6%.
you stated
To
that
date,
earlier.
the bank have not even
So the
looked
banks
at
aren't following in the direction that...
They're not. They're
Okay.
making a lot of excuse that they have operation cost and all of that, when the bank is making 21 billion
and 11 billion.
and
you
11
said that
billion.
earlier.
It's just crazy.
So from your perspective, where you're standing now, how do you advise entrepreneurs to navigate this current economic climate?
We have to just keep fighting.
Just keep fighting.
We have to just keep fighting. We can't give up. I'm not going to give up this fight. The Bank of Jamaica must, and we're asking them kindly to reduce interest rate to the survival of this country.
Is it the Bank of Jamaica though? Because you have just said,
the banks, the commercial banks and financial institution, right? As I mentioned, that the Bank of Jamaica reduced interest rate 4 consecutive times, and the banks and financial institution, commercial banks, need to follow. We're asking kindly to see if you can, to help to save the Jamaican economy. Because I don't think government alone can do it. We're going to need the help of the private sector. And, you know, as I mentioned, private sector, I still feel that there's still a silence where the private sector is concerned. Again, the private sector organization of Jamaica, the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce, the Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association, they have members, hundreds of thousands of members, and they need to let their voices be heard. Sending out one press release, that's not good enough. We have to fight. We have to keep fighting. And Small Business Association of Jamaica, who have about some 16,000 business operators island-wide, I am going to fight and fight and fight until we get what we want.
So tell me now, right across the spectrum, the length and breadth of Jamaica, the different industries that are represented here, can you say which industries are faring better than others under this condition? Because some, I don't think everybody is suffering.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Who is doing better than who and all of that?
Grace Kennedy is doing very well.
So in terms of small businesses now.
Oh, the small business operator. Well, you have some car dealers are doing very, very well. Who start small and doing very well. You have some small manufacturing company who make soaps, ketchup, are doing very well, who make ketchup and who are in the manufacturing and service sector are doing very, very well. But others are doing poor, very poor, who need help, badly need of help. Again, I mentioned that grants will be very, very good if the government can work through the Ministry of Investment, Industry and Commerce to offer grants some of these small business operators who badly in need of help.
So as we ease into our break now, one of the questions that came to mind would be, if small businesses don't get the relief that they need, as far as the budget is concerned, what are the real risks to Jamaica's economy? Are we looking at job losses? Are we looking at closures? Are we looking at greater informalities? What are the risks?
Job losses, closure. I mentioned earlier on that the economy is doing well, but it's not going down to the small businessman. We're not feeling it. We're not feeling it. And the government need to address that matter as expeditiously as possible. You mentioned something again. Let me just, you mentioned something. Let me just say, right. And so on and so forth. And that will cut the entrepreneurial spirit of our country and destroy businesses. The small business operator need help. They need help.
Are there any other collaborations that you have considered between Jamaica Manufacturers Exporters Association, PSOJ, and all the others that you have listed, though? Have you started to collaborate within or between those groups so that you can...
we are a member of the private sector organization of Jamaica. A board meeting set. I think it's sometime in March. And we will be making our case at that meeting. I met with the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce, and again, a meeting is also set, and I will also be making my case. Because you see, if strength is power, and if we have the support of all these aid organizations, and say to the Bankers Association, say to the bank, look here, we have to reduce interest rate. No doubt it will happen. But strength is power, and collaboration is power as well. And we need the help, we need the collaboration, we need the cooperation of some of these bodies to help us to make our voices be heard.
All right, thank you. We're going to our next break now. Just want to remind you that you're watching The Conversation. I'm here with Mr. Garnett Reid. He's the president of the Small Business Association of Jamaica. Continue to stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to The Conversation. Just before we went to the break, we started looking at the trickle-down effect of some of the taxes. Well, we're saying that the economy is stable. It's more stable than it has been in quite some time now. Unemployment is low. The dollar is stabilizing. All those things, all those good things are happening now. Now, the question that I have to ask, and it's based again on what you have said about the tax burden. How does this tax burden on small businesses affect employment rates? How does it affect wages and the overall economy?
It does, Kwame. Because what happened is that in spite the economy is doing well, it is not trickling down to the small business people. For example, I know of businesses that used to have 5 persons employed and end up just the operator and 1 person. And I asked them why. And them said, Mr. Reid, I tell you why. We have to pay taxes, we have to pay overhead expenses, and as a result that they had to cut employment. And so 3 more people go into the field of job searching. So that happened. And that is happening all over Jamaica.
So you're saying that even though unemployment is going down, small businesses are still cutting instead of hiring more?
That is correct. And the reason for that, again, because the wealth is not trickling down to the small business operator, right? Bear me, the economy is doing very, very well. we have low interest, we have not low interest rate, we have low employment, right? We have a stable dollar. We have a stable dollar, but it is not trickling down to the little business operator down there, and that is going to cause a major problem. And the Minister of Finance and the Public Service, the Honorable Favour Williams, will have to tell the Jamaican people how the wealth is going to trickle down to the small business operator, the small man who is not seeing it. And this is why the Jamaica Labour Party is doing so well, but then the poll is reflecting in a negative reflection on them.
So help me understand this now. You're saying that one of the reasons why the polls are reflecting what they're reflecting now is because the Jamaica Labour Party has not been able to successfully allow the trickling
down of the economy. That is correct.
All right.
That is correct.
All right, good. So tell me...
And if it don't address as expeditiously as possible,
then they'll lose.
They will. And I'm going to say that they will lose, but it will be unfortunate.
Or they will not get the support that they want.
They will not get the support what they want.
So tell us now a little about, you had mentioned that there was some limitations to accessing capital. All right, what are some of the difficulties? Again, you know, be a little clearer in terms of the difficulties that small business owners will face in terms of securing loans from banks and what you can call now the high interest rates, that's what you're saying, that discourage borrowing, and how does that affect your ability as a business owner to scale or to meet your operational needs? Because you have said it earlier.
For many, many years now, a small business operator have difficulty to access financing. To finance your business, you need capital. All right? You need capital to pay your bills, pay your mortgage, pay your car loan, pay your credit card, and so on and so forth. With the high interest rate that is taking place now, between 15 to 18%, it's limits the small business operator to operate because they are not able to get access to loan or a reduced loan at a low interest rate. And so that is going to play a role for business people of not access loan to fund their business. Again, I mentioned earlier on that high interest rate is affecting business operator. And access to financing also. There's two in one, you know. There's
high interest rates and
access to financing.
All right, tell us about now the informal economy and help us to understand. Many businesses, many small businesses are opting to stay off the radar as far as bureaucratic hurdles and taxes are concerned.
That is correct.
And one other question, is this a growing trend? Do you find that this is a growing trend?
You know, because let me tell you something. I speak to dozens of business people, and when sometimes I encourage them to go to the tax administration, register their business, I think it's $1,500. Huh? They refuse to do that because they say the bureaucracy, they have to go pay GCT, they have to go pay SO1, SO2, and so on. So again, the government need to, and the tax administration, need to look into that. And this is where my one-day conference, now, I'm inviting them in to address those issues that is there affecting the informal operators that is there. We have hundreds of informal operators out there operating, but they are not coming into the formal sector because of bureaucracy.
So tell me now, what does the informal economy mean for the sustainability of small businesses and the broader economy?
They handle hundreds of millions of dollars.
And you are saying
then we need those funds to go to the bank.
Yeah, but you're saying that they have a difficulty becoming formal because of the taxes.
And taxes.
Ideally then, what is it that you'd want? No taxes or lower taxes?
Lower taxes. We need to fix it.
Okay.
Let us not dance. We need to fix the problem. And again, I hope Minister Williams will address that area. Let me just go straight to another little point. The farmers. The farmers are very, very important to this country. And we have better carrots. We have better produce than the foreign one because they're full of fertilizer and other things. We need to bring our farmers, our informal farmers, into the formal sector. In addition to that, we need to repair the roads. Farmers have complained to me that they do not have roads to bring their produce to market. For example, I have a member who used to be into the sorrel business, make tons of sorrel. And because of bad roads, they had to close down that business and go in other areas. These farmers that produce sorrel used to supply some of the big juice company, tons of sorrel. And because of the bad roads, that have to discontinue. Minister, that's a area we need to look on. The roads need to be fixed. Farmers need to bring their produce to market.
So you're highlighting a number of issues. I'm hearing infrastructure issues right there. I'm hearing issues with the bureaucratic system. But I'm hearing about taxation.
That is correct, but it has to happen. Because let me tell you something. If the farmers cannot bring their produce to market, they can't earn. And it's supply and demand, and we can get what we want. So we have to look on it all over. Because you mentioned earlier on that nothing is trickling down. And so the roads need to be fixed so it can trickle down to the small farmers, to the small man. It's important.
So are there any alternative models of finance that you might have, where you think the government and private sector should use to promote or should promote to help bridge the gap?
Government need to give DBJ more money. DBJ need to have plans for farmers. The development on Jamaica.
When you say plans for farmers, what do you mean?
Plan for farmers to help them with seeds and produce. I don't think they rather can do it all.
RADA.
They can't do it all. It's impossible. RADA cannot do it all. They have to go to the banks, the Development Bank of Jamaica. That's their mandate. They need to do more for farmers.
No, man,
they need to do more for entrepreneurs.
The DBJ can provide more funds.
That's correct.
But RADA and forestry and all of those others can provide more seeds and stuff like that.
Right. So the funding is important. The Development Bank of Jamaica need to provide the funding for our farmers.
So you're saying the government needs to provide more money to the bank provide more money to the farmers.
And again, I hope the Minister of Finance, who the Development Bank of Jamaica fall under our ministry, will address that matter as well.
So what about things like crowdfunding? You get a whole bunch of people and you solicit them so they buy into the business. That's one. What about angel investors? I mean, you own a car mart. You perhaps could sponsor a young man who wants to enter into farming, or you have other government-backed grants, not just DBJ, but other forms of grant. You think those might be alternative ways that we can use to move forward?
Yes, other big companies, national companies can help with grant to help your small farmers, your small business operators to grow their business. Yeah. And to help with grant funding. In my opening remark, I mentioned that I hope that the minister will address grant funding. I mentioned that.
So not to be.
And that will play a very significant role in the economy. Grant funding is very important.
So help us understand now. You complained that the interest rates are somewhere between 15 and 18%, and you have argued that it needs to be lower. Do you think, as it stands now, there are some players in the market who are benefiting because the interest rates are so high?
Yes.
The playing field is not as level for you. You think so?
Yes. So some people is very happy. Some people are very happy. Big companies are very happy. All right? Medium-sized companies are very happy.
All right. So
who is not happy is the small and medium-sized enterprises who are not very happy. And therefore, we're appealing to the Honorable Minister Favour Williams to address that matter as expeditiously as possible.
All right, hold on. So I just want to remind you, we're going to our final break. You're watching The Conversation. I'm here with Mr. Garnett Reid, the president of the Small Business Association of Jamaica. Continue to stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to The Conversation. In this segment, we want to look at the government support programs as well as the path to recovery. So what we want to find out now, current government initiative, we want to look at some of the existing programs such as the COVID-19 stimulus relief. How has that helped? Tax waivers, whether or not you are able to benefit from those. What are some of the financial grants that you have had? And how accessible have these programs been to small businesses, and whether or not they're provided any form of tangible relief, or you feel left behind?
Good question. Some small business operator left behind, while some benefit from a grant that DBJ have. I think it's $1 million grant to help small business operator. They have benefit from that. The COVID release program, some people have benefit from COVID-19. I think I mentioned it in a other media house that I think more could have been done, but we have to thank God for the little that we get and work with it. There is so much more need to be done, but I would say that it's better we have half a loaf than none at all. So that's where it is right now. Well, you mentioned another point.
No, well, I wanted to find out about tax waivers.
Tax waivers. Okay,
yeah.
Tax waivers that are important. Of course, the tax administration have an amnesty going on right now.
So you're benefiting.
And we're benefit from that, and that's very good. Good move in the right direction. I would like Minister to expand on that and see or extend the amnesty and so on.
Extend the amnesty, why though?
Extend the amnesty. Why? Because the amnesty is on now, and I don't go there yet. Because although it's an amnesty, you have to pay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have to pay.
The idea behind it is that you will not pay
look here,
the
I have
amount
a
that
tax
you
of
ordinarily
about
would
$2
have
million,
paid.
and they asked me to bring in $500,000, and I can't go there right now with that $500,000.
75%.
I have to wait till
in.
I get that $500,000 to go to pay and get the amnesty. So an extension of the amnesty would be good. That is my opinion.
Help me to understand that, because is it a case whereby there are certain inefficiencies in your own business and many other small businesses, whereas they can't find this money, or is it that the system is just so
My business is
difficult?
You have high season and you have slow season.
Yeah, peak
and now I'm
peak.
operated at a low season.
Yeah.
So the income is not coming in as flourishing as I would.
But you would have prepared for that.
But yeah, you do. But remember, you have mortgages, you have your supply to pay in Japan, you have your bank loans to pay, and so on. So I am waiting. I'm waiting to pay my taxes. But I would love if the amnesty could be extended, so that other business people can go and pay the taxes. So although it's an amnesty, you still have to find some money.
Yeah.
Right. And therefore, some of the business operators don't have that money right now. So extension of the amnesty would be greatly appreciated.
So are there any Any other initiatives then? For example, public-private partnership agreements that might be formed between the other bodies, the other lobbying bodies that you have mentioned, the Manufacturers Association, PSOJ, Chamber of Commerce, and so, to provide meaningful support, to small businesses. Are there any of those that you can talk about, and how can the government better collaborate, with the private sector, including financial institutions and what you call business incubators, to create more impactful programs?
Well, at SBAJ, we provide incubators at our headquarters. In other words, if a young person wants to go in the business of manufacturing soaps or lotion, what we do, we give them a startup. I think the startup is 3 years, and we charge them a small amount of rent. We go as low as $40,000 per month to start them off, to start their business off, to go on the right footing. Then we make the recommendation to the various institutions that will assist small business. For example, DBJ, Exim Bank, or Jamaica National, they have a small business window that assists budding small business operator, and it's been going on very, very well. Myself, I've been a beneficiary of that, and so on and so forth. So that's where the startup is, where the private sector is, but more need to be done, Kwame. And we all have to work together. We have to put all hands on deck to ensure that we help each other in an economy that is good, but not trickling down to the small business operator.
So you said, small budding manufacturers are business owners. That $40,000 per month, what is that? That's a loan.
That's a rent. It's a rent.
Oh,
it's a
you
rent.
cover that for them?
No, they have to pay us. Because of course, we have expense, we have light to pay, water to pay, and so on, security and all
so
that.
you just provide the space?
Which provide a space which lower than the market value.
So, all right, we have spoken to the government a number of times in terms of what you think they could do. But in terms of support infrastructure, though, what else can they do to improve its support?
Well, I did mention earlier
infrastructure?
on that better farm roads.
Yeah.
I did mention farm roads. I did mention grants that need to do grant. The Minister of Investment, Industry and Commerce is doing a Highland-wide road show. I have been to some of them. All of his 21 agencies attend it. If you want to open your business, you get your businesses open immediately. Tax administration. If you want office space, Factory Corporation of Jamaica set it up. In fact, today I was supposed to do a tour of the new state-of-the-art shopping center that is opening in St. Thomas.
Yeah.
And so, again, the government is doing very well by proving that. And not only that, you pay a small amount of rent, and then you rent to own. And I must commend the Ministry of Investment, Industry and Commerce to help the small business operator by providing office space for these small business operators. In fact, Kwame, it's overprescribed.
Yeah.
And they are building another building beside it. They purchase land and building because so many people want to go in businesses. So these are some of the things that the government must be commended, and so on and so forth, where small business and operators is going through. And not only small, but medium-sized enterprises as well. Did you know that Juicy Beef Patty start small business?
Yeah.
He used to make patty in his mother's kitchen, and now he's a multi-billion-dollar corporation.
Yeah. But
right?
that's pretty much how most of those have started.
JMB, Jamaica
Money market brokers.
They start as a small business, and it's a multi-billion-dollar bank. So you can be small, but you can grow from small to medium and medium to large.
But no.
And this is where I'm going. Big businesses need to give back something They need to give back something because they too start small,
But
and
what,
they to give back to some of the small and medium-sized
no,
enterprises.
but what kind of partnerships now do you think that you can, from where you sit as an influencer, how can you seek to lobby some of those business interests to give you the support, or give your organization rather the support that is required, so that you can in turn help to regularize that? Because one of the big issues that I'm hearing is informal businesses, and you want to regularize or
become
formalize
formal business.
those businesses.
Some of the things
So-
that we could look at, for example, the banks, they could reduce interest rate.
No, man, we hear about that already.
Reduce interest rate and lessen the red tape.
So red tape is the
The
issue.
red tape is also the issue.
All right, but
In other words, if a business person go to get a loan from the bank, they come under very, very difficulty. Sometimes even if they have a property. I think that's ridiculous. Did you know that it's easier to open a bank account in Miami than open a bank account here?
so I've heard.
Right?
Yeah, I've not tried it
so
yet.
that again, the multi-billion corporation need to streamline, make
So-
it easy for all of us.
So last question before we go though, do you think that Jamaica has the right policies in place to help small and micro enterprises to become more resilient as far as from future economic shocks?
Yes.
They have the right policies.
Yes, they have the right policy. They are working. Some work are doing, but again, it is not trickling down. And they need to go back into their boardroom.
So your
they
only
need to go
problem-
back into boardroom and make it easy for grant, access to financing, more buildings, more shopping centers. Again, I was told that there's another multinational state-of-the-art shopping center will be built in Portland. Again, I must commend the government on that. Good move, right time, in the right direction. But more need to be done. We need more in Montego Bay. We need more, some in Mandeville, and so
Right
on and
across
so
the
forth.
island.
Clarendon.
All right.
Sometimes you go to some of these parishes, commercial life is dead. You know, we need to work. We need to work together, and we need proper markets. And I've mentioned that we need roads for farmers to bring their produce to market.
All right, so Mr. Reid, thank you very much for sitting with me.
Thank you
having
very
this
much for
discussion.
having me in your program.
So we just heard from Garnett Reid. He's the president of the Small Business Association of Jamaica, and that's it for this episode of The Conversation. So a big thank you to Mr. Reid again for joining us as we navigate this landscape. Just want to remind you that this is The Conversation and it is far from over. So on behalf of the entire CeenTV production team, I am Kwame Thomas. Keep the discussions going online and just join us this Sunday for more insights that matter. See you next time on The Conversation.